What's going on, guys? We're back at it. Today's video, we are starting to dive into the 53 Ford F100. So for those of you that follow me on Instagram, you've seen this thing before. Many years ago we started this, never finished it. We started this back when I got into metal fab, and then we kind of put it on the back burner. We built my brother's purple truck, my gold Duramax, and a couple other things of my own in the meantime. But this thing just got pushed back, and we're gonna get back into it now. So we're gonna go over it. I kind of forget where I left off on some things, so I'm gonna do that off camera, get a list together, and then we can start knocking it out. I know drive shaft has to get done, which a local place right down the road does that, thankfully. I'm gonna cut the brackets off that mount the leaf springs and the shocks on the back axle. I gotta clock it just a little bit more. I didn't go quite enough to give me a good angle off of that. And then front drive shaft, I'm gonna figure out afterwards. I'm just gonna get it moving on its own weight. I might have to get a special one because this truck is so short. Everything's just kind of like compact on it, so the angles are a little bit harsher due to that, but that's all right, we'll figure it out. And then cooling setup. So for those of you that haven't seen this thing yet, I put the intercooler in the front. I didn't want to hack the firewall up, so all the cooling runs to the back under the truck neatly, and it's in the bed, which I can show you. So it's pretty cool. We got the fuel tank and the radiator back here. So fuel tank right in front of it, and the radiator. So I got to get fans set up on that, but it'll look cool from the back end here. There's going to be a tailgate, but you'll still see it when we drop the tailgate, so it'll be pretty cool. There's a lot of odds and ends, but the main goal is to just get it moving. I know I got to pull the brakes off. I bought all new brakes, which is what's in the boxes right here. Redo all the brakes. Everything's going to get torn apart and painted and powder coated and stuff like that, but for just to get it running, we're going to go over all the necessities and kind of then go from there. So I'm gonna go over this thing off camera, and then we'll get back into it, and we're gonna knock the dust off of this thing. It's time to get this thing driving, literally, because it's very dusty. This is like 5 years of shop dust. It's gross. So let's get into it. First things first, we're gonna see if she starts back up. I've had it on the battery charger. I definitely know there's no fuel in it. Got some starting fluid just in case it's a little cranky. So let's get it filled up, and let's see if this thing wants to fire up for us today. Let's start this thing off with a fresh start, and then we'll get this thing driving ASAP. It's got a lot of air in the lines. Let's get that air out of there. Right there is the motivation I needed, hearing this thing run after so much time in between since I worked on this thing last. But fired right up after the air got out of the lines, running like a dream. We're going to dive into the stuff that we need to do. We're going to take you guys along for the ride. Let's get this thing driving soon, and let's get into it. All right, so we just got our drive shaft stub on the rear end of that pushed in there. So now we're going to measure from here down to here to get our drive shaft measurement. That way when we bring it to the guys over there, they can get it cut to size, and hopefully everything lines up and fits the way we need it to. So I don't think I've ever showed this. So this is actually the cooling tubes that run back to our radiator in the bed. So it's a pretty cool setup. I gotta finish all that yet, but there's wires just running here just for test purposes. That was for our fuel pump that we got over here. So we'll get all that cleaned up and whatnot, but let's get this out, measured up, sorry, and pulled out of here, and we'll go get that dropped off for the new drive shaft. All right, so we got the old drive shaft here. This used to be a 2-piece. It was out of a extended cab long bed 24 valve Cummins. So we're gonna either have them make me a new one because it's kind of pitted. It's not terrible, so we'll see what they think. But this has to get shortened 1.5 inches. It's currently 38 inches center to center, and we need it 36.5. Plus we need this end on it instead of this one. So we're gonna get that ran over to them, and hopefully they can get that sorted out and hopefully just build a new one. But if we use this one, it's not the end of the world. It needs new ends anyway, so it might just be easier to just have them build a whole new one. So once we're back, we're gonna get back to work on this thing. We got to finish up the rear. We got to rework some stuff. I'm not happy with it, so we're gonna rework some stuff on the back end of that, and kind of work on some brake stuff. Maybe pull the front axle out too. So let's go get this dropped off, and we'll get back to that. Also, I haven't mentioned on here really, I'm a dealer for Rough Country now and a couple other brands. I'm a dealer for Turn 14, which is like basically any aftermarket parts you could want, and also SD Wheel. So if you guys need wheels and tires, if you're local, it's better because I can ship them right here and it's much cheaper, but I could ship them from them to you guys. So anything you need, whether it's lift kits, lowering kits, Rough Country stuff, everything on their site, I get dealer pricing on. So if you order through me, it helps me out because I can make a little bit of money on the orders and stuff like that. And I can have everything drop shipped right to you. So Rough Country, super easy. I could drop ship everything to you. Everything else, it's easier if you're local, but we'll figure that out. So if you need any kind of parts, hit me up. If I don't supply it, then I don't supply it. But if I do, it helps me out. So let's get this dropped off to the guys over there, and we will get back to work on the truck. So let's go. What's up, guys? Just got the drive shaft back. It was quicker than I expected. So I'm just pulling the rear end apart here. I got to take my shocks off, and then I'm gonna unbolt my U-bolts and just take this axle out of here. What I got to do, the perches are just tacked on there, so I'm gonna cut the tacks free. I might make new ones just because I made those years ago, and I don't love them, but we'll see. I'll check that out. Anyways, I basically just got to add some angle to the pinion. Years ago when I started this thing, I didn't have much knowledge on all this, so I was like, oh, that should work, but the angle is just, it might work, but I can add some on the back. The rear, you can add not whatever you want, but to some degree you can. The front, you got to deal with all the knuckles and steering, so can't do it. But the rear, it's easy. The truck's so short, so the angle is just a little harsh. So we're gonna cut the shock mounts off, clean up the whole axle, and then get it back under here and get the angle right, and then just tack the perches back on where they need to be. So it'll be pretty quick and easy. So we're gonna pull all that out and then clean up the axle and then continue from there, and hopefully correct this angle today. Shouldn't take too long, but we'll see how far we get. It's funny, I built these years and years ago. At the time I didn't even have a press brake, so I made a cut in this on my CNC plasma, and I just bent it and then I welded it back up. So I'm gonna be making new ones of these now that I got a press brake. So let's get this off of there and get this axle out of here. Inside down. Perfect. just got this out of the truck. So what we're gonna be doing is we gotta remove our spring perches. And we're gonna also be removing our stock shock brackets here. And I think that was all we had to do. Oh, I have to drill, I gotta tap that bolt out, or fitting, sorry. It's like the breather tube, so I'm gonna do that while it's out. Easier than while it's in the truck. And I think I'll just wait to do the brakes once this is back in there, just because, why not? I just want to get it back in there and all fit up. So I got all the brakes, so we're gonna redo all the brakes. Front axle is gonna come out next. Redo everything on there too. It is all gonna get sandblasted and painted real nice when it's done. But for now, we're just gonna try to get it driving. So they're very crusty, as you can see. This thing was pretty rough. I was gonna originally actually use the frame off of this truck for this whole project, but the frame was like super cooked. It was just rusted and yeah, it wasn't good. So we built the frame. We're in better shape now. So once these are rebuilt, they'll be looking good. So let's get these cleaned up, back under the truck as soon as possible, and we'll get our angle set, and then hopefully the rear is good to go and we can pull the front out. All we have to do is just weld everything out. So let's get this done, back in the truck, and keep cruising along. Alrighty, we're back. It's been a couple days since I worked on this. I got it on the stands. I got everything cut off and ground off, cleaned up, and ready to go back under the truck. So we need to clean up our leaf spring mounts, and then we are going to get those tacked back on at the right angle that we need for the drive shaft. And then once that's done, we're going to cut some new shock tabs, mounts, sorry, so we can get the shocks mounted back onto the axle. And then once that's done, the back's pretty much done. We're gonna have to run some new brake lines to our drums, but let's get it back under there and then go from there. We just got some new U-bolt plates cut up on the plasma table. So I'm gonna pull all these out, clean them up. And I didn't show this in the videos yet. I made a separate video on it real quick, but here's a new tool in the shop. So we got a 5-foot, 88-ton press brake CNC. It's bend force. This thing is rad. Super stoked on it. Still learning out, how to use it all, but it's gonna up the game here. So here's a couple test bends. This thing's sweet. It's a really capable machine. That was just kind of getting it all figured out, but we're gonna get those plates cleaned up, program it in here just for the backstop to get our depth set, and we'll bend them up real quick. This thing's gonna make real easy work of this, and then we'll get them back in here, because I think I showed it in one of the clips. When I made this, I started this project truck probably, I would say 5 years ago now. It's crazy, time flies. But I didn't have a press brake at the time, so I made cuts in my CNC table. And this worked, it would have worked. But I'm gonna clean them up just because I got the ability now. I made cuts, I bent them in my vise and then welded them up. It would have worked probably, but we're gonna clean that up and get new plates in there. So let's clean those up, get them bent up, and hang this axle in there, and then we'll get our angle set. We're gonna have to put the tires back on it because we do need weight on it, so it's actually at like ride height. That way we just get the angle right, tack everything in there, make sure it's good, and then we gotta make new shock mounts. The shocks that I have are just for mock-up. I'm gonna put nicer ones in there, but at the time I just wanted to get some shocks in here so I can kind of get some, placeholders at least. They're rough country, they're not bad, but they're like the lower end rough country ones. So we're gonna get everything tacked up and see how that drive shaft angle looks. Hopefully it's all dialed in and we can move on to the next thing. Hey guys, so we just got the first one bent up there just to make sure everything's good as we want it. So we're gonna bend these other three. We've got our dimensions in there. Angles 45 degrees. Our leg on here for the backstop is 1.5 inches. So we're gonna get these other three bent up real quick and show you how the new machine works. So toss that in there. See how it matches up to our other one. See how accurate this thing is. It's pretty good right there. All right, let's get these other two bent up and get this thing over on the truck. Out with the old and with the new. These ones are headed to the scrap bin. Got the axle hung in here. Got our new U-bolt plates on here. We're gonna run these on, get them just tight so it holds the axle here where we need it. Oops. Then we gotta center it once we get both sides snugged up. One more. Right about there. We don't want it tight, just enough to hang it there, because we gotta center it and then pivot it so we get our drive shaft angle right. And then once everything's done, we'll tack these mounts onto the axle, and then we can take the U-bolts off again, weld it out, and then get our shock mounts on there. And then the rear is done minus running some brake lines, and then we can work on the rest of the stuff on the front end, the rest of the brakes, and pull off all the old stuff, get those replaced. We're nearing the test drive stage, or at least moving under its own weight. We'll probably drive it back and forth in here a couple of times before we take it out, because I'm sure there's going to be some odds and ends we got to button up. But anyways, let's just keep chugging along. Let's get the other side tightened up, and then we'll get this angled the way we need it, tacked in there, weld it out. I just put the drive shaft in there. Everything looks pretty good. I think we're gonna go ahead with that and tack on our two mounts. Take the U-bolts out and weld those up. And then this is pretty much set. Alrighty, she's coming along. We got our mounts all welded on, so everything looks good. Drive shaft angle looks good. It's a little more angle than I wanted, but with the flexibility we have on the back here, it's gonna work. So now that I got these welded on, we're gonna put our U-bolts back on and then work on our shock mounts. Once the shock mounts are relocated, we are gonna be able to have the rear end here finished up, minus some brake lines, but we'll get those done. And for this video, the rear end is all we're gonna be focused on. I'm gonna get this edited, get it uploaded, and then the next video we'll be working on the rest of the stuff up front. But yeah, it's coming along nicely. I'm excited to chip away at this thing. It's a long time coming, but we're making progress, and that's what counts. Got some shock mounts cut out on the plasma table, so we're gonna go ahead and get these tacked on here. So those will just sit on there, super easy brackets just like that. And then we're gonna get this side tacked on, get the other one tacked on, and then weld them out. The best way I've found to collapse shocks is just use a ratchet strap like this. It makes it easy. Get it the length you need, and it's kind of like a third hand, so you don't have to try to like guess where it's gonna go. You just collapse it to where you need it. I threw my angle finder on there, so I know that's where I need it. It's nice and leveled out. So we're gonna go ahead and get these tacked on, get them welded out, and that's gonna do it for this video. I'm gonna try to be a little more consistent the past week and a half. I've been kind of shooting this video, so I'm gonna be a little more diligent with my scheduling and kind of leave days, like a couple hours here and there for YouTube stuff, because it is important. So I'm gonna try to do a little bit more of that this year coming up. So we just had Christmas, so going into the New Year's, and then we're gonna hit 2026 strong, get a lot of content out, hopefully get this truck finished finally. So let's get these tacked on and keep this train rolling. That's gonna wrap up today's video. It's been a couple days of filming here and there, but finally got it done. So we got our leaf spring mounts, top plates for the U-bolts, and our shock mounts redone. And now we got to run our brake lines off of where the brake line comes off the frame down to the axle, and just do some hard lines over to our brake drums. So we're gonna do that in a separate video, but it's coming along. I'm making progress. Excited to get this thing moving on its own power. So we're in a step in the right direction. Hopefully everything on the rear end here works. The only thing I'm worried about is potentially a little too much angle on the back there, but it is what it is. So as long as we have no binding issues, and we should be good. So we're gonna wrap up this video here. Thanks for watching. Have a great one. I'll catch you in the next one.